competitive for the women or more competitive for the men in the dating marketplace?
Okay.
So, yeah, we can start. Actually, we can start here because we started with her last time, right? Oh, we started with her last time. Okay, my bad. My bad. I'm coming in this late.
Competitive as in...
And then Casey, we'll hit your question next because I thought that was an interesting point because you guys are all basically saying here it's more competitive for women, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Versus in the United States, I would argue it's the other way around. So do you think it's better when it's more competitive for women or more competitive for men? And we can start here and then we'll work around.
Competitive meaning like a woman choosing for men or what?
Yeah, basically the women are competing for the men.
Oh.
What's better in your opinion? What do you think makes a better dating landscape? When the men are competing for the women and there's not that many girls to go around, or more women to go around and not that many men to go around?
No, I think it's better when men are competitive for women.
You think, okay.
I feel like if they choose you, it means you made a difference between all the girls.
So it would be the other way around then?
No, because he's the one that chose you. I didn't, like, if I'm competing for, like, with a bunch of friends.
You contradicted yourself. All right. No, because, like, okay, if the guy's picking you, right, out of all the other girls, that means there's a lot of girls, which means the men are the ones in demand. So, like, in Colombia, right?
Yeah.
The men are the ones that kind of are in demand here a bit because there's so many attractive girls.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, so
it would be the other way around.
Okay. So you think it's better when there's more women and less men? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. What about you?
Well, I'm guessing the same. Like, I think it's better when there's more women than men.
Okay.
And yeah, that's all I think. Like, I don't have that much of a deep thought of it. Sorry.
Okay. I'm not surprised. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So
all right. What about you?
It would be best for the result, like as a relationship, when the guys, like, when the girls compete, because you get the guy that is dying for you. But as a girl, I would say it's easier for me when the guys compete. So
Of course. Okay.
I'm realistic.
Okay.
So that's it.
But remember, when the question is, I see your perspective. It's what do you think is going to lead to better relationships,
Again?
better dating when the women are competing for the men, like kind of here in Colombia, or the other way around, where like in America, I would say it's the men competing for really a lot of the times the girls.
I will say
Like the women have the leverage in America.
I think I will say I prefer when men are competing for the women because it's like
Okay. So not here, not like it is here.
not like it's here because here the market we are more women, you know. So and it's less prospect, you know, like a good quality man, you know. So it's hard to find. So it's better we compete and it's healthy also because we can choose the best one. So she doesn't want it. Why she doesn't want it? Oh, she wanted. Why she want it? You know, and then you can see your opinion and say, okay, it's better here. But in my opinion, I prefer men choosing women because that's an idea.
Oh, so that's what you agree with them then?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are. It's funny because they say one thing and then they make their argument and it's.
I think it's a language barrier.
Yes, I think we're like...
Maybe phrase it this way. Who is it better if they have the advantage? When it's easier for men, when men have an advantage because there are more women, or the other way around? So like you think it's better when men have an advantage because there's so many women, or the other way around?
Okay, so yeah, I would think that there's an advantage when men have like the advantage to choose, like, because there are a lot of women here, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like technically choosing, but we are the ones that choose them as well. So it's like both side by side.
All right. What do you think?
What's the point of the question?
What's the point of the question?
Yes, because our natural makeup talks about men coming for women because they chase us, we receive, we decide, and we give the last word. So what's the point of the question?
Well, I'm going there, but just answer the question.
I did.
You did.
So it's when men look for the women and we give the last word. Because energetically, that's how we work.
Okay, so you like it when you think it's more conducive when the woman has leverage.
Well, here, yeah, they see a lot of men because they're very pretty. So a lot of men like...
Yeah, like I would say like in Colombia, the men have the leverage. But then you go somewhere else, the women have the leverage. But like in Colombia, there's...
Is that how you feel? Somewhere else, women have the leverage?
Well, anytime you have an abundance of attractive women, right? What ends up happening is pretty women lose that power.
We're emotional and you guys are logical. So we're emotional and you guys are logical. So when it comes to sex, you guys are going to put it in whatever hole. We're going to put it in what gives us protection and safety.
That's not the question. That's not the question, though.
So it doesn't make a difference, is my point, which I'm saying that the question doesn't make sense itself.
I would
What's the
argue it
point of the
definitely makes
question?
it definitely makes a difference. I would argue it does.
What's
Because-
the difference?
Well, here's the thing: the genders act very differently when they have leverage. When women have leverage, they tend to be terrible
But you
people.
guys travel for it.
I'm gonna be honest.
So you guys accommodate to it. So what's the point of the question?
What was that?
You guys travel to different countries to have more options. I'm marrying an American guy.
Yeah.
I find him in Miami. It's random. At the end of the story, we decide, we have the last word. You guys chase. We see if you fit for us or not. And we say, yeah, I'm going to give you a chance. We're going to have a relationship. But there's no point of the question.
You're
because we
totally
always
deflecting. You're totally deflecting.
I'm not.
You are because
You're not answering the point of the question. And you don't
I asked
have-
you the question.
Right, but there's no point of the question because it's always the same result.
Not necessarily.
How is it not necessarily the same result?
Well, when the men.
It's our nature. We're human beings, and that's how we are programmed.
Yeah, but
our
men and women
brains
are
wired
very
that way.
men and women are very different.
Exactly. That's exactly what
So
I'm saying.
therefore, we behave differently when we have leverage. Men and women don't behave the same when we have leverage over the opposite gender. For example,
right? Because you can fuck any
look,
hoe. We
no.
actually
Look,
put
see,
mind and heart to this decision.
See, remember that whole thing you said about being emotional and I'm being logical and men and women are different? That's what I
Correct.
mean. What I'm saying is that when women have leverage a lot of times, that means that they're better than their partner in some degree. And when women feel like they're better than their partner, things don't work out because women don't do well when they think that they're better than their partner. It has to be the other way around.
It's not about being better. It's about harmony, right? The pressure
Do you
point
live
that
on
you're
planet
gonna,
Earth or no?
The pressure point that you're gonna
Hold on,
apply.
look. There is no harmony.
Don't
Look,
interrupt me
stop.
'cause I'm
Stop. There is no harmony if the man's not in a leadership role. Period.
I agree. Absolutely.
So
you provide, we receive.
yeah, but the
right?
man has to be in the leveraged leadership role in the first place. And
Yeah.
this is something that
So-
women
so-
tend to forget. Like you guys like just look at the finish line, but you don't look at the entire race of how you got to that finish line. You understand?
I understand.
And I get that because women are in a privileged position where the men come to them.
Right.
And you don't have to understand the situation and how the man got there. But what I'm saying is that men and women experience different realities. And I would argue for men experience a much tougher reality than women do.
Well, I think if
Which is
if,
why
if
you're
we were
answering the
talking,
question
if we
the
were
way you are right now.
I'm about to. Are you gonna?
Oh, you're
let
finally
me?
going to answer it now?
Okay.
Okay.
If
Do you remember what the question
we're
was?
talking about
Hold
the
on. Before do you remember what the question was?
Yeah.
What
So
was
we're
it?
talking about the
What was it?
practicality of what would it be better if you guys had more options or we had more
Yes.
options. It would be smarter if we had more options because we're going to have the last call and we're going to make a smarter decision because we don't act with our sexual desires. We act with our mind and our hearts. It's a coherence. So it would be better if we have more options because it would be more safe.
I disagree.
And you have more options and you get to fuck more prostitutes, but it takes you a lot of fucking prostitutes to find the one.
You have something, Fresh?
You guys have so many options. You still make terrible choices even now. I'm like, bro, like you guys choose like the worst
are
people, the
facts.
bad boys, the guys that are doing the worst stuff. And it's like, you're 28. You just found your guy, right? So all this time you chose the wrong people. Not true?
I think that it's just lack of education. So I don't know if it's feminine, like girls making bad decisions, but we tend to operate from our hearts. And it doesn't matter what you say.
Okay, so when
No,
you operate,
it doesn't
hold
matter-
on.
it doesn't
Stop.
matter what you say.
Who's going to make a better decision? Someone thinking with their feelings in their heart or someone thinking with their brain with logic and reason?
Obviously, someone thinking with their heart. In every possible way. I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of girls, right, are trying to get a man, right, because he's a provider. For example, it's sad for me to, for example, walk on the 10th Street, all the prostitutes and the men are, you see a lot of Americans and you see the girls kind of just waiting there. It's just they're looking for a fucking better life, right?
Okay.
But when it comes to us, we're complex. If you think about the complexity of a human being, we're a little more complex than you. There is a duality within us that has to do with how much you receive the good part of us, which is the submissive part of us.
You're missing the argument. We're basically saying is that
if you don't let me finish,
because you're going in circles, you're
No,
not
I'm
necessarily
not.
answering the question, you're not making sense with your, because in one thing, you're like, oh yeah, men are more logically sound and rational. I'm like, okay, well, who's going to make a better decision? And you said the person that goes with their heart. No, when you make emotional decisions based on your heart, that's how you feel at the time, but that might not be the best decision to make.
who told
for
you
the
that
long
your
term.
work emotions and heart is completely different? You're disconnected, and it's really hard for me to make you understand that about yourself because you don't even know yourself at that extent. So it's not my fault. It's like
This
I'm talking to
conversation
a
actually is a
wall.
perfect example of how men communicate overtly. I'm speaking logically and soundly, and you're like using your emotions and
I
feelings. and
literally
it's like,
told you that it would be better if we have more options because it would be faster for us to make the right decision. And I think that it's fine because you take too long to find the one. We just kind of sense it faster. We're intuitive. It's different. You guys don't operate that way. You guys are logical. Whatever gives you the most money, whatever gives you the most things, you know, the most status. Because obviously you have to be a bad boy because more girls are gonna want me that way if I have the yacht, if I have the things.
but men have to earn
right?
that.
Sorry?
Men have to earn that.
Yeah, of course you do.
Men have to earn their value. So what percentage of men can actually achieve these things you just mentioned?
So you think that exactly, but you're gonna have so many more girls that are probably not educated
But
and
men
not
have to
very
earn that.
valuable. I understand that.
So there's a barrier to entry. That's my point. For women, there is no barrier to entry. That's why if you look at all the feminist countries, right,
Yeah.
where women are the most, how do I say this, empowered, feminism is at the strongest level, why are the women the least happy? They have the most career, they have the most education, they have the abundance of options, but why are they least happy and least married? It's because when you put women in authority positions where they're the ones picking the men, they typically fuck up and fail. This is why arranged marriages have been a thing for so long,
Right.
because you have the father involved and your
You're
father
missing
comes
my
in.
point.
And no, I'm.
My point is that even if you choose first, she's gonna choose you last. So if you want her, she's gonna say, "Oh, do you wanna?" I've been proposed to 3 times, and I've said twice no to 2 people. I chose. It was my last call. They wanted me. I didn't want them. It's my call at the end, not yours.
Were they nice guys?
They were. It was just not the timing.
Yeah, fantastic. Not surprised. This is what I'm trying to say, bro. Like, yo, you're digging your own grave, but it's fine.
I think the audience can see who's logically sound here, who's not.
yeah.
But you have a podcast. That's crazy. Anyhow.
I would love to have you, and then my questions would be, you know, interesting for you too.
Because you guys aren't enlightened. You got to take ayahuasca to the jungle first so you can be enlightened in her level.
You're not living on planet Earth, no offense, but go ahead with so. Yeah,
well-
the question was,
Yeah.
what do you think is conducive to a better dating marketplace? When the men have the advantage or the leverage or more options, or when the women do?
I feel that both genders act different when they have the leverage.
Okay.
And I feel like both genders could take advantage of having the leverage.
But if you had to give it to one, who do you think is
I would
better?
give it to a woman.
You think it's better when the women have it?
Yeah.
The American girl would say that. Okay.